So let's go back for a moment to the place where we created our CSS folder within front-end dev. Let's open Sublime. Let's go to the View menu, Sidebar menu item, Show Sidebar. Doing so will open a sliding panel on the left side of the editor. And this is often used in Sublime when working with multiple files. You can then navigate your file system directly within Sublime without leaving the editor when moving between files. You can just drag and drop a folder directly into the sidebar or even directly into the editor, and it will be bookmarked in the sidebar. So you can just remain within the editor and drill down into your folders and subfolders and even create or remove files directly from within Sublime. So within the CSS folder, let's create a file called relationships.html. We will use this file for testing the relationship selectors. So let's create an HTML file with the usual markup, head, with the title of CSS relationships and the body. Now let's suppose that we are creating a blog, for example. So let's create, for example, a main container for our page. Within which we can create a section that will contain the articles, the blog posts, basically. And within this section, we have, well, a title first, and then a couple of articles. Each article has a title. The article represents the blog post. And an excerpt for the content of the article. We copy a little bit of a placeholder text. And then a link to read the complete article. Of course, my links do not point anywhere. They are just here for example. They are just here as an example. Okay. And let's create another article. You go. Now let's say that we want to have another section within the main content area of the page for the archived post. Okay. There you go. One is enough. And then we want to have a sidebar. Every blog has a sidebar. Oh, sorry. I don't know what I was thinking. It's an aside. That is cool anyway, sidebar. An aside. And that aside will contain a glossary. I'm just using a class because I want to be able to give this section more meaning. Telling that this is a glossary is much more explicit what this section is for, and I will then be able to style it properly. And this section could contain a list of terms and definition extracted from my blog posts. So we have a definition list with the definition title, some term, and definition description or definition data. There you go. And then we could also have a footer outside of the main area of the page with a copyright. I will put the copyright notice into a small tag. In HTML, small can be used to represent a side comment or a small print, like for example a copyright notice. So, copy, that will print the copyright symbol, 2014, all rights reserved. And then a small paragraph with the link to the terms and conditions. And I will use another HTML entities here to print the ampersand that I cannot use as it is, because ampersand is the symbol used to prefix HTML entities. So if I want to print an ampersand, I need to use an HTML entity to represent the ampersand. Oops. And I close the paragraph. Let's save this. Let's give it a try. Relationships. Okay, everything seems to be okay. Let's go back to the editor. Okay, let's open our style block in the head. Again, we are using internal style sheets, even though this is not a recommended practice. Style and style. Now, let's suppose that we want to make this title, this H1, red, because we like it red. So you should be tempted to say, okay, I can use an element selector, because I can target the H1 directly. So if I do that, and I give it a color of red, I save, go back to the file and refresh, this is not exactly what I want, because I will have that all of the titles have become red. And that's why, if we open the inspector and we have a look at the hierarchy, we can see that we have multiple H1 in the page. And because we have used an element selector, the rule is applied to all the H1 elements in the page. So this is not exactly what we need to target the H1. Starting from the next video, we will see more specialized type of selectors that we can use to finally target and style elements in a web page.